purple light doesn't usually mean anything in a city. Traffic signals are red, yellow, green. Streetlights are white, or that dull orange sodium glow you forget about until it's gone. But for 1 month this summer, a stretch of Yonge Street in Toronto is going to glow purple. And underneath that light, a green metal sign that has read the same thing since before most of the people standing under it were born. Yonge Street is coming down. In its place, BTS Boulevard. This isn't a fan project. It isn't a mural someone painted overnight or a sticker slapped over a street sign by someone with a laser cutter and too much love. This is City Hall. This is an actual municipal motion, introduced by an actual city councilor, debated and voted on by people whose job is to decide where the water lines go and how high the speed bumps should be. And they decided this was worth their time. So the question isn't really, why did Toronto rename a street? The question is bigger than that. It's this. What does it mean when a government, not a fan base, not a record label, an actual government, decides that 7 men from Ilsan deserve the same kind of permanent civic memory as a war hero or a founding mayor? Stick with us, because the answer says less about BTS than you'd think, and more about what's happening to the entire idea of fame in the 2020s. Let's start with what's actually on paper. The motion has a name, and it's not subtle. City councilors titled it Toronto Goes Dynamite. It calls for the section of Yonge Street between North York Boulevard and Finch Avenue to be temporarily co-named BTS Boulevard, starting around August 21st and running until September 23rd, a full month, bookending the group's 2 sold-out nights at Rogers Stadium on August 22nd and 23rd. Here's the detail that turns this from a nice gesture into a real economic decision. The timing isn't random. That stretch of Yonge Street sits inside North York's Koreatown, and the renaming lands on the same weekend as the Toronto Korean Festival at Mel Lastman Square, just down the road. The city isn't just welcoming a band, it's using that band as a magnet, pointing 100,000 fans toward a neighborhood full of restaurants, grocery stores, and small businesses that have been building Korean cultural life in this city for decades, long before anyone outside Korea had heard of BTS. That's the quiet engine underneath the purple lights. A concert brings people to a stadium for 1 night. A street sign sitting there for a month brings them to a neighborhood. Now, here's where the story gets its edge. BTS is not the first act to get this treatment in Toronto. 2 years earlier, when Taylor Swift brought the Eras Tour through the city, council passed a nearly identical motion, temporarily renaming the stretch between Nathan Phillips Square and Rogers Center as Taylor Swift Way. The signs didn't just come down and go in a drawer afterward either. They were auctioned off, and the proceeds, combined with a matching contribution from Rogers, pushed well past $200,000 for the Daily Bread Food Bank. So this isn't a one-off, it's a template, and BTS just became the second name to fill it. This is where we need to zoom out, because a street sign is a small thing, but the pattern behind it is not. For most of the 20th century, getting a street named after you was reserved for people who were, in some sense, already gone, or at least already legends by the time anyone bothered with the paperwork. Elvis Presley got his boulevard in Memphis, but not until 1971, deep into his career, on a highway that ran past the home he'd built his legend inside of. Liverpool didn't name streets after John, Paul, George, and Ringo individually until the Beatles were a historical fact, not a working band. Civic memory used to move slowly. It waited for consensus, for distance, for a kind of certainty that only time provides. What's happening now is the opposite. Cities aren't waiting for legacy to calcify anymore. They're naming streets in real time, while the tour is still selling tickets. Timed precisely to the week the artist is in town. It's less like a monument and more like a marketing campaign. Except the entity running the campaign is the city itself, because the city has realized something. Cultural gravity is economic gravity. If a fandom is large enough, coordinated enough, and willing to travel far enough, it stops being a fan base and starts being a temporary economic zone. Hotels fill up, Restaurants fill up. A neighborhood that fans might never have had a reason to visit suddenly has 100,000 reasons walking through it in one weekend. And for K-pop specifically, this is a threshold worth noticing. For years, the conversation around K-pop's global reach was about numbers you couldn't quite touch: streaming figures, chart positions, ticket sales measured in dollars, and one. Abstract. This is different. This is a government body in a major Western city deciding that a Korean group's cultural footprint is now permanent enough and valuable enough to be written, even temporarily, into the actual map of the city, not as a K-pop story, as a story about how cities allocate honor now. Full stop. With BTS simply being the act that happened to be standing in the doorway when it opened. Ask the people who actually live under that street sign what they think, and the reaction isn't cynicism. It's something closer to pride mixed with mild disbelief. Local reporters who went out to Yonge Street ahead of the vote found something consistent. Nobody they spoke to was against it. The most common complaint, if you can even call it that, was that a full month felt like a long time to leave the signs up, which is less a criticism of BTS than an admission that the city had genuinely committed to the bit. For ARMY, the significance runs deeper than novelty. This is a fandom that has spent years being told, implicitly, that their devotion was a curiosity, that loving a Korean boy band was a niche thing, a phase, something to be a little embarrassed about outside the group chat. And now their city government is lighting up its own city hall sign purple to mark the occasion. That's not a small thing to a 15-year-old who's used to translating their excitement for people who don't get it. For 1 month, the city gets it too. There's a phrase buried in the official motion language that's worth sitting with. The counselors frame the gesture as the city's way of saying, "You never walk alone," welcoming BTS and ARMY into Koreatown North. Whether or not that language was chosen with the lyric in mind, it lands as an acknowledgement. This isn't just about 7 musicians. It's about the community of people who made those musicians a global phenomenon in the first place, some of whom have been part of Toronto's Korean community for far longer than BTS has existed. By September 23rd, the purple lights will go off. The signs will come down, get boxed up, probably auctioned for charity the way Taylor Swift ways were. Yonge Street will go back to being Yonge Street, and most people driving through North York next spring won't think twice about it. But something will have shifted that doesn't reverse when the signs come down. Toronto didn't just host a concert, it wrote, however temporarily, a Korean name into its own geography, using the same civic ritual it once reserved for war heroes and its own founders. And it did that as the second act in what's clearly becoming a pattern, not the first. Which means the real story here isn't BTS. It's the fact that a city government now has a template, a tested working template for turning global fandom into local, economic, and cultural infrastructure. Next time, it might not be K-pop, it might be Afrobeats, or Latin trap, or whatever global sound conquers the algorithm 5 years from now. BTS just happened to be standing at the exact right moment, in the exact right city, when that template got its second real test run. And somewhere in that timing is the answer to the question we started with. This was never really about a street. It was about what